Hello, everybody. Hope y'all having a wonderful day out there today, man. Hope y'all doing great, man. Hope everything going well with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing, you know what I'm saying, well for yourselves, well for the Father, well for your family and everything like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Just, staying focused and out the way. That's all we can do is stay focused and stay out the way because, you know, we don't want to cause trouble, you know what I'm saying, to come upon us because being children of God, you are automatically have trouble coming against you. You know what I'm saying? You have enemies coming against you. You have, people coming against you and spiritual entities coming against you. You know what I'm saying? Because we always at a war. We always fighting, you know. We always gonna have to face, you know what I'm saying, some things that we don't want to face. Feel like we shouldn't be facing, but it builds our character, you know. Excuse me. It builds our character, and you know what I'm saying, it builds our confidence, um it builds our faith, it builds our joy, um it builds our knowledge in the Father, it builds our awareness, you know what I'm saying. It builds so much things that um you can't even think about how much things it can build for you, but all you should know is that it's all for your goodness. You know what I'm saying? It's all to make you a better child for our Father. You know what I'm saying? So don't worry about, you know what I'm saying, things that come against you. Count the screens for things that come against you because when they come against you, you got to understand, you know what I'm saying, what's going on and how to endure the situation and how to know what to do. And the only way you can do that is by asking God. You know what I'm saying? So as you read, basically as I've been reading in Kings, I've been noticing like all the kings that was after Solomon, well, majority of, I ain't gonna say all, majority of all the kings that was after Solomon, they didn't ask God for help. They didn't ask God what did he want them to do. You know what I'm saying? When you see David, you see how David always asked God what he want him to do. When you see Saul, he never asked God what he want him to do. He always listened to the prophet, but never asked God, you know, how do he feel about it? Like what do he want him to do? You know what I'm saying? So he always took what the prophet said and did it. And, because he didn't have any obedience in the Father, he fell short of the glory. You know what I'm saying? And that's how David took over his kingship. Because one thing that he should have did was told, his warriors, his warriors was to not bring anything back. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do that. So he thought, okay, if I don't tell them, then maybe this way he said, if he basically he thought if he didn't tell them, then you know what I'm saying, if anything, they'll be at fault. He wouldn't be at fault. But God put him in position to be king, ruler over these people who didn't have obedience, who didn't have, God, you know what I'm saying? Because by him being the king, he's a leader. So he should lead and they should follow. But since he wasn't being the king that God wanted him to be, they couldn't follow him. You know what I'm saying? So well they couldn't get the righteousness out of him because he didn't have it in him. You know what I'm saying? So all they wanted to do was, war and take. Same thing he did. You know what I'm saying? Never give. So they followed the leader that they had. You know what I'm saying? So if he would have listened to the father and told them, no, hey man, we can't take nothing, then that would have been a better situation for him and he would have kept the kingship. But since he didn't, that would cause him to lose it. And then you go to David, even though Saul wanted to kill David, David always knew that God anointed Saul to be king. So he didn't want to kill a king that God anointed. He knew. You know what I'm saying? So he always um held it in. You know what I'm saying? Like talk to God. I held it in to where, it basically built his character to be a better child of God. You know what I'm saying? Because of his obedience and what he had to endure throughout his lifetime, you know what I'm saying, of having someone he knew, someone he helped, you know what I'm saying, someone who child he bonded with, um, and someone that was his king, to he had to endure all the things that, Saul brought against him, which was death. Saul was trying to kill him. He had to endure that, and since he endured that and still asked God and everything like that, you know what I'm saying, God blessed him and his lions, which is us, you know. So it was like um it's like when we pay attention to what our Father showing us in the Word, we have to take that and understand like that's how we have to live. You know what I'm saying? We have to ask God for guidance. We have to ask Him. You know, can He show us if He want us to do this? Show us if He want us to do that. Ask Him. We gotta ask Him if He want us to do these things. We can't do it on our own accord because as we learn, is that when you read Kings, you learn that all the kings that died and basically um vanished their whole generation after them, or their sons was cursed after them. You notice that the reason why that happened was because these kings always took Israel into sin. They never asked God for permission to go war. They never asked God for permission to take to um bring these false gods against Israel. You know what I'm saying? They all fell short because they was doing wicked things. They didn't have no obedience. They didn't have, you know what I'm saying, the right righteous mind, the holy mind. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to be king over Israel, which they was king over Israel, but they wasn't the original king over Israel. God is the king over Israel, but they never they don't want the people to know who God is, so they make them false idol gods. You know what I'm saying? Out of gold, out of statues, out of wood, or whatever they make it out of. You know what I'm saying? And have the people lost for years, decades into those false gods. You know what I'm saying? Just like Ahab was a king over Israel. Um, he knew that he knew that he knew who God was, but he didn't want the people of Israel to know who God was. Just like Yoram, I don't know his name in the KGV, but his name in the Sefer is Yoram. He didn't want Israel to know who God was, so he made false idols, false statues, and Bethel and Dan. You know what I'm saying, for Israel, because he knew if they found the holy city of Jerusalem that they would turn to God and go over there to Judah to be over there with the other king that God had in there. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't want that because he wanted to control the people. He wanted the people over him. So when you notice like people who want people to be under them, they feed out the energy of the people. They feed out the energy of the idolization from the people idolizing them. They feed off that, and then now they're God over the people. You know what I'm saying? Instead of putting God, instead of letting the people know who God is, you know what I'm saying? They playing the role of God. They playing the act the God over the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they fall short, and then that's where they lose control of themselves because they done got haughty and boasty, and you know what I'm saying, like Nebuchadnezzar and Pharaoh and all these other, you know what I'm saying? God made them kings because the people wanted them to be kings. You see what I'm saying? And then some situations, some of the people in Israel, they lost the kings, both kings, and it was like, well, we're gonna make this guy king. You know what I'm saying? Like they was just you know what I'm saying, lost because they don't know who their real king is. You see what I'm saying? Because of these false kings, these kings that came that God made kings, they wasn't showing them, you know what I'm saying, who God was, like who made them a king to be over them. They didn't do it. So, you know, we don't want to get boastful. We don't want to feel like we over people. You know what I'm saying? Everything in the Bible is you learning, man. We learning and we learning how to move. Ask God first before we make any moves, and never turn people away from God. Because when you turn people away from God, you're not God over them, and now you're acting like God over them. And you know what I'm saying? That's what caused a drought on you, a famine on you, a curse on you, death on you, generation curse on your whole family, may vanish your whole family. It caused so much things, man. Like we just, man, my wife just been we just been in it, and it just we just seeing, we like, man, it's been bad since Solomon took the gifts from Queen of Sheba. Because how I feel is like, Queen of Sheba, I feel like she cursed the spices and, what I'm saying, all the things that she had brought. I think she cursed them because she was like, oh, I heard about you out in, from far away, from a whole nother place. She heard about and came, you know what I'm saying, and wanted to see if he was really where everybody say he was, where King Solomon was, and he was. You know what I'm saying? And She was like, well, I got all these gifts for you. And Solomon received those gifts. But one thing I noticed when Solomon received those gifts, he never asked God, should he receive those gifts? He never asked Father Yahweh, should he receive those gifts? Because I was wondering and pondering, like, man, why? Like, how come right after her, he just started marrying all these women from different places and, you know what I'm saying, had over 400 women and, you know what I'm saying, like all this stuff, like concubines, 400 concubines and all this stuff. So I'm like, man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? He had a lust spirit on him and he couldn't contain it, you know? And that's what messed him up. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have that. He only had one woman. That was Pharaoh's daughter. And I was kind of trying to figure out why he dating Pharaoh's daughter. You know what I'm saying? If Pharaoh is how he is, you know what I'm saying? So, but I guess that was because, um, I don't know. I think maybe that was because let's see. I think maybe that was because Yeshua was to come. I'm thinking like I know Elijah was to come. It was something, man. I don't know. I gotta like think about it and ask God like like why was that? Because I was thinking about that like why did he marry Pharaoh's daughter? You know what I'm saying? I ain't really get it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was for a cause for something to cause to happen like but we'll figure it out. But yeah, man, he took those spices and things from her. Next thing you know, man, everything just went left after that. Like went left, you know, like nothing was right. Everything went left, and um, you know, like all the kings just messed up. And then when Elijah came, he showed them who God was because it was like 400 prophets, and like 450 prophets or something like that, from 400 to 450 prophets that was under Jezebel, which is Isabel, and Ahab. They was under them, and basically God used Elijah to show that Elijah was more righteous and of God and could see better than those fake prophets that Ahab and Jezebel had, you know what I'm saying, with the burning of fire. They was calling their God all day, all night, crying and cutting themselves, bleeding out, you know what I'm saying? And no God answer for them. And then when what his name is, Elijah did it, um he poured water on the wood and then it lit up in flames. And then, you know what I'm saying, he showed them the difference. And that's when Israel started to believe, like, oh man, this is our God over here because look, it's evidence. You know what I'm saying? But before they didn't have no evidence, so they only knew the false God that Ahab had brought upon them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, they only knew of the false God that Ahab had brought upon them in Jezebel. So, you know, once he showed them that, it was like a wake up call. And then you know what I'm saying, they killed killed a lot of the fake prophets and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because now they finding out like, man, they led us into destruction, you know? So yeah, man. Like, man, this junk crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they ain't know, you know what I'm saying? It's like they just got took because they wanted the king, and then, you know what I'm saying, this king now leading them into false idols, and, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, like, they just don't know. So it's like, if you don't know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And they just wasn't noticing, like, no difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just living, just kind of how our people is today. They just living, you know what I'm saying? Not knowing that they worshiping false gods out here. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like you could just see that from there, and then you could just see that from, you know what I'm saying, here. And it's like, man, it's crazy. Like because people out here doing it now. So it's like, it just clicked. Like, man, it's crazy, man. Like people literally out here doing this. They don't even know, for real. And they don't know how far it's taking them away from God just by them having these false gods. So it's like, man, you got to pay attention, man, because God be calling for us and wanting us, you know what I'm saying, to do the right thing. And it's like, people just fall so far away from God, you know? It's like, man, you're gonna allow another man to take you away from God. You know what I'm saying? It's okay when you don't know, you don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Once you do know, you know what I'm saying, then everything has to change. You have to lose that idol, that false God. You know what I'm saying? So that be the problem. People don't want to lose what they done picked up. You know, they don't want to lose that. They want to keep attached to it, keep a hold to it. You know what I'm saying? And not lose what they got going on in life, or what God want them to have going on in life. And that's how they fall short. You know what I'm saying? So man, we got to pay attention about how our Father wants us to approach certain situations, certain things, and move according to that. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of that old life, get that new life in you. Get rid of that old spirit, get that new spirit in you. You know what I'm saying? Start asking God first before you make your moves. It's gonna be hard at the beginning, but then it's gonna get easy because you know our Father gonna work with us. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be willing to and commit and stay disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Because from what I'm saying, when you're not disciplined, things can get tough on you. You know what I'm saying? Like Ahab, it got tough on him. He did all he did, but at the end, you know what I'm saying? He repented. He was repenting and crying out. You know what I'm saying? Crying out to God. So God said, you know what? I ain't go I ain't go do nothing to you here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do something to your son. Your son go get this punishment because you repented. You know what I'm saying? So his son ended up getting it. His son was worse than him and Jezebel. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely messed them up. You know what I'm saying? Their generation got cursed. His son didn't even have a son. And then his other son got jacked up too. Yeah, man. Just hope y'all read, man. Y'all into the word. Y'all noticing and understanding. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Just staying focused, man. Paying attention, learning. You know what I'm saying? From every word, every verse, every chapter. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that the Father is, you know what I'm saying, utilizing the Bible to show us. You know what I'm saying? I hope we just pay attention to them, man. Love y'all, man. Shalom.